Welcome to Thriving, Creating a Healthy Lifestyle, a Thriving Business, and Living with Intention, even in the midst of the COVID-19 crisis. I have today a very special guest. She is a personal friend, a beautiful woman, and she is an MD of functional medicine. She's here to give us all the facts and to know, when do you go to the doctor? When do you stay home? Do you go to the ER? What is a symptom? She's going to lay it to us straight. So I want to introduce to you my special friend, Dr. Nisha Chellam.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that intro.
Absolutely. And I am so excited to have you on here. And for those of you who don't know, I reached out to Nisha because she does functional medicine. And this is a lot different than just going to the doctor and getting a medication to cover up a symptom and then having to take another medication to cover up another symptom. And, you know, she's really been doing some studies with like ER doctors. She's been working with other MDs in her area to get the facts straight. And so she's here to give us the straight facts, straight from a doctor's mouth. So I'll let her go ahead and introduce herself and take over the conversation a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So just so people understand, I went to the traditional medical school. So I finished my MD in internal medicine and did that for years, almost 20 years before I realized my patients just got sicker. Their symptoms got better, but they got sicker. It doesn't make sense, but that's what was happening. They added more and more diseases to their list as I controlled their blood sugar, blood pressure, blood cholesterol, but they tend to decline. So, you know, at some point I had to shift and figure out what else can I do to get to the root cause and truly heal them. And that's what functional medicine is about, where you ask only two questions. What does this person need to heal, or what do you need to remove to heal? Now, the current state in which we are, like the coronavirus, that is a state where something from outside attacks us. And at this point, traditional medicine is really, truly the only way to get better. This is not the time to be, I'm sure people who do essential oils or, you know, any other form of nutritional therapy would say, you know, there are other ways to boost your immune system. I totally agree that there are different ways to live healthy. But when you have an infection, really the medical system is the only place that you can go to get the right kind of help. So, but at the same time, our medical system and our medical resources are limited. We all know that. Most of the times we don't go to the ER, we don't go to the urgent care, we don't go to our primary care doctor's office unless and otherwise we're sick or we're going for an annual physical exam. The fear that has been instilled upon us, or it could be because there's so much of information and we're looking at the death toll, we're looking at how many people are dying, who is dying, and we keep thinking every time you have a sniffle or a sneeze or a cough that could I be having the coronavirus? So I want to help people understand and put this in perspective. First of all, the coronavirus is what I would say something that we have experienced over a period of time. I think it started sometime back in 2002 as the SARS. So you had the acute respiratory distress syndrome at that time, which came from birds. That's what it, and again, started in Asia. Then it faded away. Then we had sometime in 2012, 2013, the Middle Eastern respiratory syndrome, which was MERS, which came from the camel. And once again, that faded away. The coronavirus, which is otherwise called COVID is CO for corona and VI for virus and D for disease. And the number 19 for the first case was really diagnosed in 2019, in December 2019 from Wuhan, China, once again is thought to come from bats. So where the interesting part about that is this virus seems to have changed its structure as it's crossed countries. So it's crossing the borders and it's changing the structure. And what does that mean? It means when it's infecting a new country, the strength, the rate of infection is different, the degree of infection is different. In other words, how infectious is it? So for example, a flu, if I have the flu, I'm going to give it to one person. But if I have coronavirus, I'm going to give it to 3 people. So you see how exponentially it can increase, which is why the most effective way to stop the spread is to isolate yourself. Because the minute you get out, you're going to give it to 3 people, because that's how this virus is a little different.
Mm.
Now, the other part that's very important is 85% of the patients who are infected with the coronavirus actually recover and have just mild cold-like symptoms. Even those who have mild cold-like symptoms, they find that if you did a CAT scan on them, they do have changes in their lungs. So they may feel a little short of breath, but it goes away. Around 10 days, they feel much better. So the people who really, truly need the help are the ones who get this hacking cough, shortness of breath, really not able to catch their breath. They do need to go to the ER. People who should not be seeking help are the ones who have no symptoms, who are just worried, like if the worried well, where many of us are there. And in this moment of panic, without our knowledge, we tend to become very self-centered and selfish. So here's the true problem. You go in trying to get yourself tested. There will be a time, I think in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have testing available for those of us who just want to go get tested, just to satisfy your mind. But right now, the system is overwhelmed. The ERs are busy. The ICU is full of patients who truly need this kind of help, the acute medical care. So if you're just having a mild cold or you're having body aches, you might be just having the flu, because I know most of us, when we have the flu, we call in sick and we stay at home, drink a lot of water and stay in bed. And that's exactly what you have to do with this. However, if you're getting short of breath or you're in the high risk category, which means you have an immunocompromised state, like people who have transplants or people who are asthmatics on long-term steroids or autoimmune conditions, or if you are a little elderly, and multiple medications. Now, when you get sick and you are really concerned that you might be a little short of breath, I think it's better to call your primary care doctor. Your doctor can direct you and say, hey, you need to go to the ER. Now, I would say from that front, most physicians are afraid about lawsuits, so they're going to ask you to go to the ER. So you want to be really very honest with yourself. Are you truly sick? Would you have done this if you did not have the fear of coronavirus? This is not something like you're going to get sick and you're going to die the next day. The fact is, you will get sick all of a sudden. That's what most people who have the infection mild say. Yesterday I was good, today I have a fever and I have body aches and I have this dry cough. Now, the dry cough is not necessarily standard. Some people seem to have a little mucus production. So don't think just because you have a lot of mucus, oh, I don't have a problem. You're still probably very infectious. So stay isolated. Number one, I think that's the most important thing, is stay clean, stay isolated. And then the other part is there a way you can get treated once you have an infection? Now, if you have early infection, there are some over-the-counter antivirals that you can potentially try. This is not something that has been studied. This is simply like the same person who's selling essential oils telling you that your immune system can be boosted. But there is an antiviral, and I can give you the information. It's called Varicid, VARICID. And there are Orthomolecular is a company, Pure Encapsulations, and Vitals. These are all companies that you can go on to. And a good place to find it is on a company called Fullscripts. Fullscripts is attached to my website. So if you post for them my website, they can go on to Fullscripts and go directly and buy that antivirals that might help. But should you have the infection, a few things that have worked is, number one, anti-malarials like chloroquine, which is 5 cents. 500 milligrams is 5 cents. You take 2 tablets, but this is again prescription. So your doctor will determine whether you need it. And HIV medication, there's a specific combination that will work. Once again, the doctors know what to use, and I can give you that information later if you want to put it in your show notes. So there is treatment, so don't want people to just panic. I think using common sense, being cognizant of the fact that you're not going to die in 24 hours. If you have symptoms, do the common sense stuff of, drinking lots of water, staying hydrated, and staying in bed, taking rest, not getting yourself stressed. Now, on the other hand, when people have the florid disease, I mean, that's at the time you feel somebody is just not doing well, please take them to the ER, anybody who is in your family. And when you walk into a hospital, you got to wear the mask. And the regular masks do not help, but apparently putting tissue paper under the mask somewhat helps, because the virus is very small. It's 0.3 millimeters, and you really need the N95 N95 mask, which will really filter. And usually it's for providers. It should not be put on a patient who's got active virus, because that will expel it outward. So we really want to put just regular masks on people. And I think that's pretty much, it's really a lot of it is common sense. One of the other things that you can do is, this is again speculation, we find that the virus is more in colder climates. So all of Africa, the tropical, India and South America is not does not have as many cases, and it's not really spreading a lot. So we think heat somehow is not very helpful for the virus to multiply. So potentially saunas or steam inhalation might actually help. Something to keep in mind if you just have a cold and you're worried about the virus, just do a steam inhalation and try to, kill the virus that's in your mucous membrane. Now, again, that's a speculation. This is not something that has been studied and proven beyond doubt, but we find as a trend, it's moving towards the colder climates. And that's a good thing, because right now we're moving into the spring and warmer season, most parts of the world, except probably Australia. So I think it's going to be easy for us to, get this pandemic may come to an end. And I think what is really missing at this point is testing for everybody who's paranoid, or everybody who feels like, I need to be tested at this point in time. That's the only thing that's missing. But the medical system is really working very hard to help the patients who are truly ill. Does that answer a lot of the questions you might have?
It does. Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for all of that, because you gave us so many truths in that, just the symptoms of, because I'm hearing that, a lot of people are seeking medical help when they just have a sneeze, or
Yeah.
they may think that they've been exposed, and they assume because they work in a building with a lot of people, or they just kind of assume that they have it.
Right.
But what I'm hearing you say is that unless you have the symptoms, I mean, it's still flu season, right? You could get influenza A, influenza B, or it could be corona.
Or it could be just allergies, right? And when you have allergies, it's like, again, what do you do when you have allergies? You have to know, you have to really be able to differentiate. So with coronavirus, you have fever, you have cough, shortness of breath, and they usually appear after 2 to 14 days after exposure. So if you were with somebody who probably had similar symptoms and you have it, that's the incubation period. The flu has fever, cough, sore throat, which is very common with the flu, and not so much with coronavirus, though it is still present. Headaches, fatigue, muscle and body aches, runny nose, stuffy nose. This is all a part of the flu. Allergies starts with a lot of sneezing, which again, you don't see so much in coronavirus. Itchy, running, blocked nose, lots of congestion, and itchy, red, watering eyes. That's something that you see with allergies. And this was the differentiation which was put out by the Allergy and Immunology. I think they're called the Society for Allergy and Immunology. So really, when you have a lot of sneezing, watering, probably it's allergies. When you have body aches, fever, stuffy nose is probably the flu. When you have a dry cough with fever and body aches, there's a potential. But once again, remember, 85% of the patients who have coronavirus are actually recovering normally. It's just a little longer than the flu. Instead of 5 days, it's 10 days.
Mm. Yeah, that's such helpful information, because I do think, and you spoke to this, I feel like because some people are, getting their news from social media, or they're getting caught in this scarcity, the fear of the news. When they hear there's deaths in their state or their area, they automatically go to that fear.
Right.
But what I'm hearing you speak to is the fact that, your symptoms, your average healthy person who tries to stay stress-free is going to have a mild case.
Right.
It's not going to end in death.
Yes, yes. And the death rate, if you really look, it's 2 to 3%. Majority of them have some kind of an immune system problem. But I will also say this from a functional medical perspective, your gut is extremely important. So I tell people, if you've never eaten healthy, this might be a good time to get to eat, trying to eat healthy, getting some probiotics, digestive enzymes, eating a lot of the seasonal vegetables, a seasonal food, and avoiding processed food. Is very simple. Eating healthy is extremely simple. We've lived in a world of convenience and abundance, right? If I don't want to cook today, I can just walk next door to a restaurant and eat the meal that I want. But now we're kind of forced to stay at home, figure out how to cook a very delicious meal. And it's very easy with, being on social media. You can pick up a couple of quick recipes. All the grocery stores are open. There are so many people who will deliver groceries to you, or even something like, I don't know if your group of people would know about Daily Harvest. It's a great company that will deliver just fresh vegetables, and they are willing to do that right now. So they've increased their staff in order to make sure people can stay at home and still eat healthy. So I think it's a very great time to rebuild your gut. But remember, the main thing is remaining stress-free, which is really very hard unless you make it your job. You make it your right to stay stress-free.
I love that, because I'm hearing the silver lining in almost every conversation I've been having, in the fact that this is almost like a pause or a reset in the world, where we get to look at our priorities and see, get back to the basics.
Yes, yes. And the great thing about all our laws, the laws are also relaxing. Like for me as a physician, I could not practice across state lines. So right now, you can actually, if you follow the physician online, you can go across state lines and actually make that appointment. I've had people from California call me and say, can you treat me? And I couldn't order blood tests on them. I could not do a lot of things. New York, I could not do that. And now I think that particular part has been opened, and that stumbling block has been removed. So you can actually get to speak to a doctor across state lines and actually get advice. So a lot of good things are coming out of this. And I think the goal would be for each one of us to move out of fear, because I tell this to my patients. One thing I can guarantee is we're all going to die. Right? When people come to me, I tell them, you're going to die. You don't know whether it's going to be in the next 24 hours, next minute, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. But what you have right now is time. And we've been given the gift of time that really nothing like we would have ever had before, right? We're rushed to go to work, get our kids to school, pack lunches. None of that is there.
Mm-hmm.
So what can we do with this abundance of time is actually reshape our thought process, reshape our lives. And I think it's the greatest gift that we've been given. I do realize a lot of people are economically, they feel like for the moment, they feel desperate. But it's something that one of our mentors spoke of, Nisha Chellam. She always says this, right? Experience that feeling. If you feel desperate, if you feel frustrated, fully experience that feeling and then connect with that negative feeling in a different way, right? Because we don't know if this is good or bad. I've always known that everything good comes from something that was terrible. every time, every time. So what is the greatness that's going to come out of this? That's something that you would have to sit down and ponder.
I love that. It's so true, because I'm hearing all across the board, you know, like people who have always wanted to write that book, they're writing that book.
Yeah, yeah,
People who want to start
absolutely.
businesses are starting businesses. Like it's a beautiful opportunity when you look at it that way.
Right, right, right,
Yes,
absolutely.
it's beautiful.
Yep,
And
it's
oh, go ahead.
no, it's actually a perfect time. I mean, people who could not exercise, did not find time to exercise, could not find time to cook, could not find time to do all the things. I mean, your to-do list, pull them out and take the first 5 and get it down to the two most important things you've always wanted to do, and get it done.
I love that. Such great advice. And I also love that now you can help and serve more people in the world as a functional medicine doctor. So
Absolutely.
for people who are listening into this and they want to know more about connecting with you, I know that you offer, you know, online courses, you have a website. Where can they find you?
Okay, so we're on, you can find more information about us on holisticicon.com. It's Holistic and Integrative Center of Novi.com, but it comes up as holisticicon.com. And we have, actually, if you call the office, we'll get back with you and let you know what are your online courses. Now, the reason for the online course, what I have found is for people to get healthy, what they really need is information.
Mm.
And information is all across the board, right? We don't know we're the only species on the face of this planet that is confused about what we should eat. And actually, there's a very easy way to find. I mean, we're genetically wired. Each one of us is genetically wired to eat a certain way. We just don't know that, but that information is available to us today. So we actually teach people how to figure this out on their own, how to be their own doctor, how to listen to their intuition and get healthy. It doesn't really, it's so easy once you have the right information. And that's what our online courses are about. So you can work with us 90 days or 1 year, depending on how sick you've been. This is what I would say: for every decade that you've been sick, you need 1 year for recovery. It's really very easy math. So if you've been sick for 20 years, it's going to take you 2 years really to get better. And what happens working with a practice like mine would be to really shorten that period that you have to work with the doctor, right? You get better much faster.
I love that, because I feel, you know, there's this idea, everyone knows they should eat healthy, right? Everyone
Yeah,
knows that. But then there's people like my mom, she's diabetic. She doesn't know exactly what that means,
right,
like what to eat,
right.
when to eat it, what's a portion. So it sounds like that's a lot of the stuff that you guys go over.
Yes, but we actually will, for instance, a diabetic, if I have 10 diabetics, 10 of them have 10 different root causes. So you have to get to the root cause and rebuild their health from inside out. Most of the times we're looking for solutions from outside in. What do I eat? What do I take? What supplements do I take? To me, those things are secondary to figuring out what's going on in your body and what does your body need to heal, or what do you need to remove so it may heal. So it's a very simple, it's simple, but not easy. And that's why guidance helps you get there much faster.
I love it. I love it. Oh my goodness, you have been so amazing. It has been so great to have you on here. And I am so glad that you brought clarity and information to this conversation, because with all of the confusion, the fear, the misinformation out there, you have made it so simple.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And thank you for having me on this. This is amazing.
Absolutely. My heart is just, I'm so grateful that you were on here. So thank you so much, Dr. Nisha.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. So I hope you guys all got something out of this, and please do, I'll put her email or her website down below. So check it out, whether if you have fears around the coronavirus, if you just need more information, or if you're interested in one of these amazing programs she talked about, check it out. keep up to date because I believe this is where the world is going. We're
Yeah,
going toward figuring out those foundational pieces and curing the root cause, not just curing the symptoms.
absolutely.